Making Ranger Derby trays.
Well, I got the 220 electric heater installed yesterday. That came out of my son's house. It's about a $150 heater, $139 heater, something like that. It's the 3 to 5,000 water. It'll heat maybe 400 square feet. And so it's just about the right size for this. Um, then I picked up a piece of that cord from his house, wired it in, and I went and bought me a plug. And I was going to plug it in the RV. Get it all wired up and it won't work right. And I thought, well, it's dud. And then I started chasing it back to the panel. I turned off all the 220 outlets and it's still fired up. Well, an RV plug is only 110 volts. So it is not 220. And even though the plug and the cord are heavy duty, they, for some reason, makes my mind think that they're 220, but they're not. They're 110 volts. And as soon as I knew that, I looked at it, I thought, you're just an idiot. Anyway, so I went and got a 50 amp breaker. I used some of that heavy wire and put me a welding plug-in down there, and then I plugged the heater into that, and I also have a plug for a welder. So that worked out really good. I've been making some Ranger Derby trays, that nest, and the race the other day. These are just painted with kills, but they stack, and they're box jointed. And I'm kind of torn between putting a nice finish on them, nice satin finish on them, and filling all the little holes. But then again, they're going to get graphite and all kinds of stuff on them. And I want kind of the box joints to go ahead and stick out. You know, that's a high-end quality deal instead of just a regular butt joint. So, and then these I had doubled ends for the sake of it. But anyway, I went to get some plywood to make a couple more for this, for this part, and it's $32 a sheet. And I just thought, no, I'm not paying $32. This was all made out of my scrap pieces from around here. So I kept using all of my scraps, and I had some of it laying around. And I make most of my jigs and stuff out of that stuff. So I've got a bunch of it around that's for jigs, and it gets used around here. So I'll probably go get some of it anyway and hook it up. But for example, here's some pieces that were left over from jigs, and I had a stack about 10 high, and they were the cut-off sheets of this right here. And there's one of the segments of the tray boxes right there. So, and it's made out of that 1/4 inch Luan, or it's not Luan, it's actually a floor underlayment. But that has all of the box joints and the cutout for it, and that'll make one tray. So anyway, so I'll probably go get a sheet today and finish up a couple more trays. I'd like to be able to present one as a gift, and then maybe have one for an auction item. So there we go. All right, I'm getting ready to rip up some of this 1/4 inch underlayment. It's a birch plywood that's got some, it's for putting underneath flooring and stuff. But it's a good plywood for boxes and stuff and templates that I use all the time. And I just got through buying a sheet of it. Was $29. 2 years ago it was $13 something. So anyway, twice as high. And I was talking about these little Grizzly pump tables. You can buy them at Harbor Freight as well. I have 2 of them. I built a box on top of it to store stuff in. It also brings it up to the height of my tailgate, my truck, so that when I put stuff in and then load it in the back of the truck, I can weld them in and pump them up to, just a little bit above the ground. I can take that off real quick too as well to put something on it, then crank it up between the 2 tables. I can lift up a couple 100-pound logs and different things. So, and they make great portable tables for ripping big sheets of plywood, and that's what I'm getting ready to do right now. All right, a little bit different configuration when I get it ripped down the sides. Put some out there to support the side of it there, and then the outfeed side, because most of it will be sitting on the table and I'll be in the back behind it. And you're looking at it from the outfeed side. Well, I just put a piece of scrap in there. I'm going to cut out some of the handles for the end of the trays. And I just took a piece there and I'm just turning it in there. I know about where that's going to hit. I'll put about 5 little brads in it. I'm going to fire it up. And go through there and cut out the handle. And I could do this on a throw saw, but it's just effortlessly to program it one time, and then it cuts it out perfect every time. I don't even have to really sand it. I mean, lightly sand it just to get the burrs off the edges, but that's it. And then it cuts out to the sides, and there it goes. So I tried cutting this out on a throw saw. So I got done marking it out, laying it out, cutting it, and changing the blade and getting that in there. I had about 5 minutes wrapped into it. Right now it's taking 48 seconds to get to this point right here. So in almost less than a minute, it'll cut this whole thing out, and it'll be about perfect. I'll just lift it out of there and put a few more tacks, put out another piece and cut a few more tacks, and there we go. So for 1 minute and 10 seconds. To lift this off, it's basically almost like tape. You just grab the thing and lift it straight up. And I've got a screwdriver that I can stick in there. And all the nails stay in the board. So these come out with no nails in it. And it's working really good. The pin nails that are in it are 23 gauge. And I pull them out with a pair of wire cutters. And, you know, they're small. And I know I've hit several of these on this one cut. And if it doesn't make it, I just put it in there and then spin it down. And they'll come out when I pull the other board out of there. And if I need a little assistance in getting it out of there, I've got a long screwdriver, pop it out, and pull those little nails out. Sometimes I just cut them. I mean, they're easier than a straight pin nail, and yet, you know, they're basically really easy. So, and I'll just reposition that with this scrap piece right over here like this. And there's my layout on my scrap board of the old cut. So I'll just put that in there about right there. Put it in there fairly straight. Drop a couple pin nails in it. And if I want to put one in there where the cutout will be, I'll do that. I'll throw one over here just for the fun of it. They're basically painless. And run the event. Using it with the same bit, I probably hit, I don't know, 20 or 30 nails. And really doesn't seem to make any effect on it. The bit still looks good from just looking at it with your eyes. And it's still cutting good. So the pin nail seems to be a pretty good deal. I've broken the bits with getting screws and stuff, and I don't seem to be affected by this. So a minute, 10 seconds, and it's done, and that piece is cut out. When you think you've got all the pins pulled out, take your dikes or needle nose or whatever it is, your cutters, and go over the top of it in the area that you put all the nails in. Because if you leave one of them on there, them little burgers will get you. They're like a straight pin sticking up with no head. All right, well, I'm in the business, I'll go get a sheet of this and rip it up to 24 by 24 inch squares and have a stack of it ready, because I'll make my jigs and all kinds of stuff out of this stuff. It's $30 or $28 a sheet right now at Lowe's, and ours is maybe $1 cheaper. But you know, basically, I'll just load it up in there and then shoot some pins in it and nail it to the tabletop, line it up against the fence, down through there, shoot a couple of these pins in it, hold it in place, and I try not to put it anywhere to where there's going to be a blade hit it, but I'm not that concerned about it. Not here in the middle where the other one is. I'll put that in there just to hold that down. And as it's cutting, and I get over an area, it'll cut halfway through it on one area, and then I'll just let the deal and put a couple brads in it. And that pins it down, and that way I don't have any slop going around it. You know, as this is going around cutting out this smaller piece around, about the time to get to the first cut, I'll go ahead and put a couple nails on the side there, and I've got a couple in the middle of it right now. And then I'll tack right behind it, because I know that the other cutout is where it's at. And it's generally the last one, so that'll kind of give me a position where to put nails. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the brad nailer out and put a couple around it, because it's going to head this way here in a second. And there we go. Well, now that I've got the thing just real lightly sanded on the belt sander, I just positioned the boards, dry fitted them, put them down on there. They just pretty well snap together. Every now and then you just have to tap it just lightly with a rubber hammer. If I had them all totally cleaned off with maybe orbital, it would probably slip together without ink. But these have just a slight allowance put in there, 0.01 on the box maker, to give it a little bit of so it doesn't break your fingers. If you don't put that allowance in there, then they're too tight, and they just, you don't have room. So this way we have room for glue and that. And then these pieces here will fit down inside here on and reinforce the handles. I'll have to cut them to width here in just a minute and glue them in. But I'm going to get ready for some glue. I'll just take glue and run it all down around all these seams right here, and all the seams, and hit all the knobs that stick out with a dab of glue. And then by the time that gets on there, there's just about everything has got glue around it. When I'm fiddling it, putting it together, then everything gets pretty tight for glue. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Go get me a wet rag. I put a rabbit feeder on here. Just went to the farm and home, and I got a little bit of a rabbit feeder, and it was like $3. I've tried all kinds of different methods to try and keep them clean, because the tips always get gunged up and I've got to take them apart. This one's it's silicone, so when it does get dry, I just mash it with a plier and pull it out of there. It's kind of like pulling one of them plugs out of somebody's nose on YouTube where it goes pop. But it does come out of there, and then it's ready to go again. So it seems to be a little less maintenance. Don't know if it's worth the $3 or $4, because no matter what you do, you're going to have to clean the tips on them. Anyway, I'm going to put the glue on here and get her done. All right, I went around all the way around it with this Type Bond 3, and every little one of the nubs got glue on it. Both some of the seams got it. By the time I get done, about everything has glue on it. So by the time I get it assembled, it's got glue on about everything. The only thing that don't really have any glue on it is the end grain, and of course you don't get much strength out of an end grain. But anyway, there's plenty of glue, and it does get it on there. So we're going to put it together now. All right, and just quickly put it together and tapped it with a hammer, just very lightly tapped it, got it all fitted. Then I went down around all of the seams with on the outside with that, and I'm going to turn it over and run the glue on the insides. Well, after you get done putting clamps on it, get all your glue on there, let it set for an hour and a half or two. Then you can run a sander on it and sand it for about an hour to 20 minutes. And that makes those two. I did find a small error in one of my CNC templates. The smallest tray. I was wondering, I knew one of them was off a little bit, but this one has a little bit more of a gap than the other. So I'm going to see if I'm actually having it machined at 2 lines instead of 1. And we'll see what's going on with that. Anyway, they're glued together. I'll let them cure up and then run the sander over them. I did reinforce the handles on those out of the scraps. And Definitely not something that you want to put a lot of time into, because I don't think people will probably pay for it, but they do make nice gifts.